Hi everyone. Um, I just came across um, a bunch of photographs. Someone posted on social media just now, mere minutes ago. Were December 9th. It is 3:37 p.m. here in Boston, and I came across these photographs. Someone posted on Twitter of a Lebanese athlete, a judoka named David Saad, who happened to be Jewish and who was banned from representing Lebanon in international competition from 1967. That's what the caption said, from 1967 to 1975, on account of, you guessed it, uh, BBJ, uh, banned because Jewish. Uh, and the new anti-Semites today, as you know, will tell you that and those are, they span the spectrum from extreme leftists to extreme right to extreme Islamists. Um, they tell you it's not about the Jews, it's about the Zionists. And among those are many Lebanese who, despite their many slippages in public and on social media, which is forever using the term Jew and Jewish as a slur, um, insulting me, for instance. I get many insults of that kind. So they still use it as an insult, Jewish, and they still look you straight in the eye and tell you it's not about the Jews, it's about the Zionists. Um, yeah, sure, it's not about the Jews. But here's the thing. Here's the news flash. This is an old hatred, and I want to address only Lebanon here because the Lebanese love to brag about their tolerance, their coexistence, their Lebanon as this experiment in a conversation, the dialogue of religions, Jews and Christians um, and Muslims. By the way, there are 12 Jews today in Lebanon, so yay! And that's not ethnic cleansing. Um, so I want to address specifically Lebanon and Lebanese Jew hatred, and I want to say that and again, despite the front that the Lebanese put up, that that they're tolerant, that they're modern, that they're past religious hatreds and racial hatreds. Um, there's something cultural, there's something historical, there's something temperamental, I would say even theological, in the case of the Jews, and this has dominated uh, Lebanese life and Lebanese political culture for the last 100 years since the creation of modern Lebanon, and it's living its finest hour today in the Lebanon of today. And again, despite the fact that we still have 12 Jews that we like to brag about, and about our our society as a tolerant society and a society of coexistence and dialogue and peace and love and hair grease. Uh, and proof of that is the pontiff's visit to Lebanon last week, and the grotesque show that the Lebanese put on display for the Pope, to show the Pope that they live up to that the mission of Lebanon as this hyphen between East and West and Islam and Christianity and so forth. Um, so I want to read you a snippet of this this Lebanon loves the Jews but hates the Zionists charade, because that's, again, this is the recurrent phrase that you'll be faced with. It's not about the Jews, it's about the Zionists. And this is from 1952. It's not from 1967. It's not from Gaza. It's not from the Arab-Israeli conflict. It dates from 1952. Um, Israel wasn't even 5 years old. This is February 1952, so Israel wasn't even 5 years old yet. Yet in the Lebanese parliament, itself, the Lebanese parliament was considering in February 1952 a bill to legalize the official persecution of Lebanese Jews. There were, back then it wasn't the 12. There was about 25,000 Jews in Lebanon back in those days, out of a population of 1.6, 1.8 million. So again, this wasn't ethnic cleansing. So in 1952, the tolerant, progressive, socialist PPS party, Parti Progressiste Socialiste, this is the socialist party in Lebanon, presented a bill in the Lebanese parliament whose sponsor demanded, and I quote, demanded the Lebanese government take strict measures against the country's Jews, not Zionists, Jews, who are natural allies of the state of Israel and who amazingly still have unhindered freedom of movement within Lebanon, end of quote. Now, when reminded by his parliamentary colleagues that Lebanon was still a democracy and a country of laws and tribunals, and that discriminatory laws specifically targeting Lebanese Jews are not only illegal, but they're odious, that socialist deputy stormed out of the chamber screaming at the top of his lungs that, and I quote, that the Jews here have nothing Lebanese about them except their national ID cards. They are crypto-Israelis, equally Israeli as the Jews of Israel proper, and that it is absolutely incumbent upon the Lebanese authorities to initiate measures against the Jews of Lebanon so as to limit their ability to harm the Lebanese state, end of quote. Now, when accused of racism and anti-Semitism by his parliamentary colleagues, this parliamentarian, it's not a secret, his name was Emil Bustani. He was a member of the Socialist Party, representative in the parliament of the Shuf Mountains at the time. He defended himself by digging himself even deeper into that same hole, and he would say, and I quote, "Hear me out, please. This is not a question about being Jewish. I must tell you up front that Jesus Christ himself was Jewish." Thank you. My objection is to the Zionist Israelis. I know, and all of you know, that the Jews of Lebanon, like Jews everywhere else in the world, are Israeli agents paid by Israel and doing Israel's bidding. This is 1952, okay? So it's not under Hezbollah. And note that note that he wasn't speaking of Lebanese Jews here. He specifically referred to them as the Jews of Lebanon. So yes, of course, don't swear. I believe you. It's about the Zionists. It's not about the Jews. But here's the thing. There's really no distinction between being an anti-Zionist and being a Judeophobe. Zionism, which is to say, the yearning for Zion, is as old as Judaism. And if you don't accept that axiom, you don't accept Judaism. So let me conclude with a quote from 1967, this time, from French philosopher Vladimir Yankelevich. In 67, he issued sort of a prophecy, if you will, about what the anti-Semitism of the future would look like. Again, this is 1967, so please pay attention. So he called the anti-Semitism of the future anti-Zionism, and he said anti-Zionism, anti-Zionism would be a polite, righteous form of anti-Semitism. It would be an unbelievable boon to the anti-Semites of the past. The anti-Semitism of the future, he said, this is a quote, will grant us permission, indeed it will give us the right, nay, the duty to be anti-Semites in the name of democracy. Simply put, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism justified, democratized, made accessible, free for all. Anti-Zionism is a license to become democratically anti-Semitic. And should we, in the process, become able to paint the Jews themselves as Nazis, what a wonderful thing that would be. End of quote. So, Jew hatred, whether you want to call it Jew hatred or anti-Zionism, is a plague. And like the plague, it may hide, it may mutate, it may change names and colors, it may cross the street and change sidewalks, but it remains a plague. In his conclusion to the plague, La Peste, which Albert Camus, an allegory of the Second World War's horrors, and the Nazi factories of corpses that sustained the permanence of evil, Albert Camus, in a sense, appeared. And if you go to the book and you look at the last paragraph of the last page of La Peste, and you'll see the eerie vision that he had, as if he was peering into our present times. He wrote, and this is still 1948, 1949. It was still, the stench of Auschwitz was still infecting his being. He wrote that the plague, Jew hatred, never dies. Quote, it never dies completely. It never disappears. It can lie dormant for decades. It can linger in crevices of heirloom family furniture and old forgotten linen chests, biding its times, laying in wait patiently in empty bedrooms and cellars and trunks and handkerchiefs and bookshelves, all until the day comes when, to the bane or for the enlightenment of mankind, the plague shakes its rats out of their slumbers and sends them forth to go die in a city that had once been happy, placid, catching that city unawares. So, end of quote. So it's not, as you can tell, it's not about the Jews, it's about the Zionists. Don't swear. I believe you.